What's up everybody? My name is Patrick, but my friends call me Pat, and we've got another video, but first, I've got a story for you. Long ago, in a time 250 whole years ago, our forefathers fought grave injustices. The British government was taxing us without giving us any representation in the parliament. We shouted, "No taxation without representation," and yet they didn't listen. They were conscripting our soldiers into their navy, shutting down our harbors and keeping troops in our homes. It was in the face of these grave injustices and a 1.5% tax on tea that our American forefathers became the founding fathers and fought tooth and nail for American liberty in the Revolutionary War. Now, my dear friends, we've got a matter that is even more pressing. They're trying to take our Zyns. This, of course, is a bit of an exaggeration. Last week, social media exploded because talks of a Zyn ban were being put into the air by a high-ranking US government official, although, didn't explode too much because social media throttles any content related to Zyns and similar stuff, so please give this video a like and subscribe and comment, please. It will really help me out so people can actually see this. Current Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called Zyns, quote, "a pouch packed with problems," end quote. Which really, I had an issue with that, Chuck Schumer. I'm the comedy channel, alright? I'm supposed to be making outrageous parody statements, not you. I'm supposed to be pretending to be a politician and saying that, "Oh, these things are throwing Gen Z into a Gen Zerly grave." That's supposed to be my thing, a pouch packed full of problems. Come on. Leave the comedy to the comedians, please. He went on to say, quote, "These nicotine pouches seem to lock their sights on young kids, teenagers, and even lower." It's just a fun way to phrase it, in my opinion. "And then use social media to hook them." So he's not necessarily directly calling for a Zyn ban, but the FDA, who he called to also in the same speech investigate Zyns, is currently allowing Zyn to produce their product on temporary approvals. So it's possible he could be trying to get support to maybe have Zyn pulled from the shelves until approval is either granted or denied, and then if it's denied it would obviously be completely off the shelves. Or he could just be trying to gauge political opinion for a full Zyn ban. That's very much how it was taken by some other politicians, including Tom Cotton, who said that if we ban Zyns, Hezbollah and Hamas will come in and start a black market. Because if there's one thing I think Islamic terrorist groups thousands of miles from us are going to be really good at, it's selling Zyns to 15-year-old American teenagers. You think about your picture of an average Hamas fighter, and then you think about them in the backyard of the school saying, "Want some Zyns?" I mean, Tom Cotton, the guy who said this, he literally went to Harvard. So he's either pretending to be dumb, or he is dumb. He's as dumb as a bag of bricks, although that's unfair to the bricks, because bricks actually contribute to society. They make buildings and give people shelter. He does nothing except for steal air from other cute wildlife critters. We could have like 15 more pandas with the amount of air and resources that Tom Cotton takes up every day. Although then Tom Cotton wouldn't be around to accost the pandas of being members of the Chinese Communist Party. Marjorie Taylor Greene also weighed in on this, saying that this is the start of a Zinsurrection, which credits for creativity, demerits for, obviously, insanity. She went on to say that Democrats want to legalize all drugs while letting in enough fentanyl to murder the entire country. So it's good to know that we have a very sane political discourse in this country, and we're all doing fine. But I don't really want to spend the entire video talking about two very crazy politicians, very much on the fringe of American politics, even though neither of them will ever lose an election where they currently represent. And let's talk about what Chuck Schumer said, getting into the possible logistics of a Zyn ban, what Zyn is, what they do, the health effects, and does he have a point to what he's saying? I don't think so, spoiler alert, but let's get into it a little bit. I'm going to be using Zyn as sort of a stand-in for the overall American nicotine pouch industry because Zyn has a majority of the market share and it'll just make things easier. But there are a lot of brands selling these things, nicotine pouches, small little pouches of nicotine and other stuff that you put right there and that give you nicotine slowly over the course of an hour. But before nicotine pouches came on the stage, there was the cigarette, which was really cool for about all of human existence until everyone realized it gave you mega cancer, and it smelled, because you were literally lighting something on fire and burning it into your lungs, which is not good. Then the e-cigarette and vape came along around the turn of the century, which we had just about eradicated youth smoking because it was disgusting. Then around 2011 to 2015, the youth vaping rate went up 900% to where it's currently at about 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 people. 20 to 25% of youth are vaping. So, that's not great. But what if I told you that somebody took only the addiction-causing nicotine from both of those products and made it into a completely new product all by itself? You would probably say that sounds like a horrible idea, and I would say, well, you could be right. There's been almost no long-term testing on the long-term health effects. But enter the Zyn world, baby! Like all good things in America, we stole it from Scandinavia. There's a product in Sweden called Snooze that has since spread across Europe, invented around 2009. And Snooze kind of sounds like the name of like a Beanie Baby that accidentally got in some toxic waste, creating a horror that surpasses even mankind's imagination for the terrible. But we changed them here to Zyns, where they became commercially available for most people around 2019. So how do they work? Well, you put them in your mouth, and then they give you about 3 to 6 milligrams of nicotine over the course of an hour. Your body absorbs about half of it, medically. Now, I don't use them personally. My family smoke like a chimney, so I tend to avoid nicotine. I really try to balance my addictions, and nicotine is not one I care to pick up. But I also, I believe in a social safety net, but I also believe the government should mind its dang business. When I hear people talking about banning this stuff, I really want to get into the reasons of why. This wouldn't be the first time that the FDA has stepped in an attempt to regulate nicotine products. The FDA has already banned a lot of flavor pods, most famously the mango pods from Juul. Really, Juul kind of got like the shit end of the stick. They were the poster child for underage vape use, had their company kneecapped, and then now there's a bunch of subsidiaries from China selling disposable ones that people use anyway. Sorry, Juul! But the key part of those bans were the fact that they were flavored, which is commonly cited as the main reason to be banning these things because kids might access them, which I don't really understand. Like, just because something tastes good, kids are gonna automatically want it and therefore we should ban it? Like, hate to break it to you, friendly Sundays, guess your days are numbered. Oh, what's this? Oh. Okay, yeah, I guess most of the friendlies have already closed, so yikes. But yeah, I don't really understand this point. It mostly just feels like an excuse to me, because yes, kids like things that are flavored, but so do adults, and so do most people. If you're given a choice between something that tastes good and something that tastes like nothing, most people will choose something that tastes good, which is why Americans prefer soda to water, unfortunately. So okay, why are we talking about a ban? Are a lot of young people using it? No, not really. Only 1.5% of high schoolers and middle schoolers have used nicotine patches according to the 2023 survey. So why are we even talking about this? Is it possible that nicotine pouches are like even worse for you than cigarettes and vapes? Like it's this totally toxic, crazy thing? No, not according to the science. According to the science, nicotine pouches are incredibly healthier for you than cigarettes and are almost certainly healthier for you than vaping. That doesn't mean there are no risks, but we'll get to that later. So Zyn, which by the way has a website which you can't access unless you put in your driver's license, including accessing their very popular rewards system, they claim that what's in their product is just nicotine salts and a handful of other food additives. In the list of things they have in Zyns, one of them is literally just baking soda. That stuff checks out. The only thing that is really objectionable is the nicotine salts and nicotine. Because, let's face it, nicotine is really not the best thing in the world to be putting into your body. In an ideal world, you wouldn't be having any of it. The American Heart Association says that use of nicotine can be linked to higher blood pressure, higher heart rates, some negative things happening to your arteries, and it also could have long-term negative effects on your overall cardiovascular health, including your arterial walls and all that, science stuff. So, nicotine, it's not great, but in the words of current and possibly future embarrassment Joe Biden, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And the alternative, in terms of having nicotine, there's really nothing that's better than Zyn, because cigarettes are horrible for you, which we know that, and vaping has a lot of possible dubious health effects, especially given that a lot of vapes are bought from companies that are not being regulated by the FDA. Some people even think that, according to the current data, Zyns may not even meaningfully increase your risk of cancer. Now, that should be stressed that there has not been basically any long-term studies on this. The main concern with, if there is a risk of cancer, relates to something that may be in tobacco pouches, called tobacco-specific nitrosamines, TSNAs, which is, that's a fancy way to say bad shit. You don't want that stuff. A European study found that these basically bad chemicals were in about half of the brands they tested. Zyn, for their part, claims that they don't have any. So we'll just take their word for it. It's not like Zyn is owned by Philip Morris, the company that lied and told everyone that doctors actually were encouraging you to smoke cigarettes, and that cigarettes were A-okay, not associated with cancer at all. But if we take them at their word, Zyns should be good. But overall, that aside, the science generally paints a pretty positive picture of Zyns, at least more positive relative to any other way to consume nicotine. But do you know why I feel positively about Zyns? Because I am sick and fucking tired of walking behind some finance chucklefuck and getting inundated with a vape cloud of cotton candy scented bullshit. It's just because it's not smoke doesn't mean you can blow it in someone's face. The amount of times I have been hooking up with somebody and they have taken a pause to suck on their USB stick and blow watermelon scented bullshit in my face just because it's not smoke doesn't mean it's not annoying. Say what you want about cigarette smokers, they know to sit in the corner and get cancer by themselves in the smoking areas. With Zyn, I'm not bothered at all that you have Zyn. I don't even know you have Zyn. I can just be in the club without having to breathe banana blue raspberry sexplosion vape juice in my face. I can just breathe in the polluted air that I'm used to. Thank you, Zyn. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like it's the government's job to ban products because people need to be doing better jobs at parenting. If your 13-year-old is getting addicted to chewing tobacco light because they watch Joe Rogan, first of all, I would like to apologize. That seems like a bit of a tough situation that you're in. But you gotta do some parenting for a little bit. At least get them to junior year. Then if they want to get a nicotine addiction, as long as they graduate high school, it's all copacetic. It's out of your hands. It's up to them. There are a lot of products out there that are fully legal and kill thousands of people every year, like alcohol. Frankly, the fact that we're talking about banning Zyns before banning cigarettes is moronic. Cigarettes are literally giving other people worse health outcomes and possible cancer who are not even choosing to use the product, whereas Zyns only affect the user. So you know what? In that spirit, in the spirit of 76, in the spirit of the Zinsurrection, consider me on board. I am proudly taking up arms for the right to bear Zyns. Give me nicotine or give me death! I'm just kidding. I don't use Zyns, but I don't approve of a ban either. I think that's stupid. Alright, that's the end of the video. Please give me a like, because any topic about Zyns is horrible for search engine optimization. Give me a subscription. I really would love to have you here. I'm going to be uploading roughly every week. And give me a comment if you liked what I had to say, or honestly, even if you didn't. Argue with me. Make my day. Alright, that's the end of the video. Bye-bye.